Did you know that over 12.5% of Americans experience a specific phobia at some point in their lives? Yes, you heard it right. Phobias, these unseen terrors, are much more than just intense fears. They are complex psychological phenomena that can significantly impact an individual's life. From the outside looking in, it can be easy to dismiss phobias as irrational or exaggerated. However, for those living with them, they're anything but. These fears can be so overpowering that they cause severe distress and can even hinder daily activities. Imagine being trapped in your own mind, constantly on edge, and fearing an invisible enemy. Sounds like a horror movie, right? But for many individuals, this is their everyday reality. Phobias come in all shapes and sizes, from the fear of heights and spiders to the fear of crowds and small spaces. While some phobias are common, others are so bizarre they're hard to believe. Starting our countdown at number 5, we have nomatophobia, a word that may seem unfamiliar to many, yet it represents a very real fear for some individuals. Nomatophobia is the fear of names. Yes, you heard it right, names. It might be hard to comprehend for some of us, but for those with nomatophobia, it's a daily struggle. Now, you might be wondering, how does this phobia manifest? It's not like names are a physical entity that can cause harm. Well, phobias are complex and often do not follow our usual understanding of fear. For someone with nomatophobia, hearing, reading, or sometimes even thinking about certain names can trigger intense feelings of fear and anxiety. This could be their own name, or the names of others. There are many ways this fear can affect an individual's life. It can lead to avoidance behaviors, such as avoiding social situations where names might be mentioned, or even avoiding reading materials that might contain names. In severe cases, it can significantly impact the individual's personal and professional life. Interesting fact for you, nomatophobia is considered a specific phobia, which means it's a type of anxiety disorder. Specific phobias are among the most common types of psychiatric disorders, affecting about 1 in 8 people in the US at some point in their life. However, nomatophobia is relatively rare, with no concrete data on its prevalence. Treatments for nomatophobia, like other phobias, usually involve cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps individuals understand and change thought patterns that lead to fear and anxiety. In some cases, medication may also be used to manage symptoms. Imagine a world where every introduction, every roll call, or every name tag brings a shiver down your spine. It's fascinating, isn't it, how something so ordinary and mundane to most of us can be a source of intense fear for others? That's the intriguing world of phobias for you. Imagine being terrified every time you hear a name. That's the reality for those with nomatophobia. Moving on to number 4, we dive into the world of hippopotomonstrosis squipedaliophobia. Now, if you're sitting there wide-eyed and wondering what on earth that word means, you're not alone. This mouthful, ironically enough, is the term used to describe the fear of long words. Yes, you heard it right. The name for the fear of long words is, in itself, a long word. Quite the paradox, isn't it? Hippopotomonstrosis squipedaliophobia is a specific type of logophobia, which is the fear of words in general. The term is believed to have been coined as a humorous take on phobia names, but it has since been recognized as a genuine fear that can cause significant distress for those who suffer from it. The fear of long words can present itself in various ways, from mild discomfort to severe anxiety. It can be triggered by anything from reading a book to engaging in a conversation where long, complex words are used. It might sound strange to some, but for those affected, it's a very real and debilitating fear. The origins of this phobia are somewhat unclear. Like many fears, it may stem from a traumatic event or negative experience associated with long words. For example, a person may have struggled with spelling or pronunciation in their early school years, leading to embarrassment or ridicule. This negative association could then develop into a full-blown phobia. Living with hippopotomonstrosis squipedaliophobia can be challenging. It can lead to avoidance behaviors, such as refusing to read certain books or articles, avoiding academic settings, or even shying away from conversations that may involve complex language. But remember, like all fears, this one can be managed and overcome with the right support and treatment. Cognitive behavioral therapy, for example, is often successful in helping people confront and manage their fears. So next time you come across a word like pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, remember it's not just a tongue twister. For some, it's a source of genuine fear. For those with this phobia, the longer the word, the greater the fear. Our third spot goes to a rather peculiar fear, allodoxophobia. This phobia, while lesser known, is a genuine fear that impacts people's lives in significant ways. Allodoxophobia is the fear of opinions, not just negative ones, but all opinions. This fear can be so overwhelming that it affects individuals' social interactions and relationships. Imagine being in a conversation where everyone is sharing their thoughts, and you're petrified. It's not because you're worried about what they might think of you, but because their opinions, in and of themselves, terrify you. This is the reality for someone with allodoxophobia. This fear can stem from a variety of sources. In some cases, it may be rooted in a traumatic experience where one's opinion was harshly criticized or ridiculed, leading to a deep-seated fear of any opinion, whether positive or negative. In other cases, it may be linked to social anxiety disorder or a fear of conflict. Allodoxophobia can have a profound impact on an individual's life. It can limit their social interactions, as they may avoid situations where opinions might be shared or discussed. It can also strain relationships, as the individual may struggle to share their thoughts or feelings, or may become anxious when their friends or loved ones express their own opinions. But it's not all doom and gloom. Like with most phobias, there are treatments available for allodoxophobia. Cognitive behavioral therapy, exposure therapy, or even certain medications can help individuals manage their fear and live more comfortably in a world filled with opinions. Here's a unique fact. Allodoxophobia is derived from Greek words allo meaning different, doxa meaning opinions, and phobos meaning fear. Quite fitting for a fear of different opinions, wouldn't you say? In a world filled with opinions, allodoxophobia can be a challenging fear to navigate. In the second spot, we have a phobia that can make social gatherings a nightmare, dipnophobia. Dipnophobia, a word derived from Greek, where dipno means dinner and phobia means fear, is an unusual yet valid fear of dinner conversations. To most of us, these conversations may seem like an opportunity to unwind, share stories, and strengthen bonds. However, for individuals suffering from dipnophobia, these seemingly harmless exchanges can trigger intense anxiety and distress. This fear isn't merely about the food or the act of eating, but it's centered around the social dynamics that accompany a meal. This could be due to a variety of factors. Perhaps it's the perceived pressure to engage in meaningful conversation, the fear of being judged for one's opinions, or even the dread of uncomfortable silences. The manifestation of dipnophobia can vary greatly from person to person. Some may experience a racing heart, sweating, trembling, or a dry mouth, while others might feel an intense need to escape the situation, leading to avoidance behaviors. In severe cases, individuals may start to isolate themselves, declining invitations to social events involving meals, thereby impacting their social life and relationships. Like any phobia, dipnophobia can be treated. Cognitive behavioral therapy, which helps individuals to understand and change thought patterns leading to unwanted behaviors or feelings, is often used. Exposure therapy, where individuals are gradually and progressively exposed to the feared situation, can also be beneficial. However, it's crucial to remember that seeking help is the first step. If you, or someone you know, struggles with dipnophobia, encourage them to reach out to a mental health professional. There's no need to navigate this path alone. So, next time you're at a dinner party and you notice someone feeling uncomfortable or avoiding conversation, remember, they might be dealing with more than just a distaste for small talk. For those with dipnophobia, dinner parties are not a relaxing event, but a source of fear. And finally, taking the first spot on our list, we have globophobia. A phobia that might sound amusing to some, but for those suffering from it, it's no laughing matter. Globophobia is the intense fear of balloons. The mere sight of balloons can send a globophobic into a state of panic. It's not necessarily the balloons themselves that incite such terror, but rather the anticipation of the balloon popping. The unpredictability of when this might happen can be extremely stressful. For those with globophobia, everyday events like birthday parties or store grand openings can turn into anxiety-filled ordeals. Imagine walking into a room filled with these colorful, floating threats at every corner. The constant worry of a balloon popping can make these events unbearable. From children's parties to celebrations, balloons are a common sight in our lives. They symbolize joy, fun, and festivities. But for those with globophobia, these seemingly harmless objects represent a source of deep-seated fear. From birthday parties to grand openings, balloons are everywhere, making life a constant challenge for those with globophobia.